This is going to be a mock IEP meeting. All right, so first, every meeting starts with a meeting of notice. This is just kind of explaining to the parents like what the IEP is, when it is going to be scheduled for, who will be at the meeting, and then who to give it to, and how to get in contact with them if you have any questions. The parents, I always send one home and then for them to sign and send back to me, and I highlight this part right here just so they know that they need to sign here and then pick one of those. I also send the exact same paper home that says parent copy and highlighted right here, so they know it's theirs and they can remember that the meeting's happening. And then if they can come, they say yes. If not, they say no. We get a new plan figured out. Usually I try to call the parents beforehand and find out what date works best, if it's like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then what time of day, if it's in the morning or after school. That kind of helps make it like the parents involved, and then also it usually makes it so it works out. Then we would start the meeting, and the meeting comes together. We have this kind of like outline, like notes, but also kind of like a timeline to keep us all focused. So basically is what we do is we say what we're meeting, if it's an annual, triennial, or transitional. We have the date and time, who is present at the meeting, and then also we have the parents' rights, and they're offered and accepted. And then we have introductions made so everyone knows who is who at the meeting. If it's a triennial, we will go into results from the school psychologist, SLP, OT, RSP, and teacher, depending on who's involved in the meeting. And then we go ahead from there. Usually we have to do part 2 because it takes a long time to go over the data, especially if the meeting is in Spanish and English. So then from there we go on to the annual. We talk about present levels. So our IEPs are formed in something called SACE. And SACE has each section for us to fill out accordingly. So after we do introductions, and if it's a triennial, we go over the data. But if it is just an annual, I will always give the parents information and eligibility sheet, and then that's where they fill out and make sure that the IEP is correct. So it is an annual, the date, negative language, also like parents, like their address and everything, and then the district, and then their nationality, and then what the disabilities are, which once a student is diagnosed, it stays like that until they have their next triennial. So I just let parents go over that quickly, make sure everything is correct. If it's not, we update it. If it is, then, we can move forward. So then we go into present levels. This is an IEP that's blank right now just due to confidentiality. So we talk about strengths, preferences, and interests. Everyone puts in feedback, whether it be the resource teacher, SLP, you could do the school psychologist, the teacher, the principal, whoever, whatever is it. And then parents, especially the parents, if anyone else comes in the meeting, such as a psychologist or something, they can also update. Then we put parent input and concerns. We talk about all assessments, which students from 3 and up take these, otherwise it doesn't apply. And then also English language learning. Everyone who is a second language learner will take this, and they do it every year starting from kindergarten. We talk about hearing and vision, and then other assessment data would be our iReady, and so we do the diagnostic testing there. And then pre-academic functioning would be collected from all the different portions of the IEP team. So SLP, teacher, OT, RSP, school psychologist if they have counseling services. And then we would talk about the pre-academic functioning skills, communication development, gross fine motor development, social emotional behavior skills, vocational adaptive living, health, and then students who receive these, what are the goals and what do they, kind of what areas of need do the goals need to focus on. So we go over that. And then we talk about just the special factors. So does the student require assistive technology, the rationale behind that, and then low incidence services, and then the rationale behind that. If students are English language learners, then we go on about how they need the language support and how is it provided, and when will the student get that structured behavior, as well as any other interventions and strategies and supports with ELD or behavior. And then also, if they have a behavior, do they need a plan or is it embedded in the IEP? And then we go on to statewide assessment, and this is more like the accommodations that are given and provided for the student during these different assessments. Obviously, you can see here the grade levels that it applies to and so forth. And then also English language proficiency, if it's initial or continuing, and then if there's other like tests that apply, especially for some of our students who are in this bilingual program. And then we go down to goals. So sometimes, depending on the meeting, I've done it both ways. The goals in progress are reviewed like right off the bat before we even go into the everyday, before the present levels. I've also seen it where I've done the levels or the goals like right now. We'll go through the annual goals, progress from RSP, SLP, and OT, and then we will introduce the new goals and what we hope to accomplish with those. So basically areas of need, what is the goal, what is the baseline, and how does it apply to their learning. And then down here is where you keep all the progress reports if the student had already, like if these are past goals. And then if they met it, if they didn't meet it, then you need to review why. So then we go on to offer of FAPE, and this is where you will find accommodations, modification, other supports, and then if transportation is needed, if extended school year is needed or not. And then this whole page is where you focus on that. So you'll see them listed, how long they go for, where they need to happen, and that kind of stuff. And then also you will find the services. So if they have SLP, what does that look like, for how long, how many minutes is session, how many sessions a week or month, same with RSP and OT and everything. If you see a student with multiple services by one person, it could be different subject areas. So one would be a Read 180 program or a math program, or technology piece. It all just kind of depends on the student's IEP. So this will all be right here where the offer of FAPE is stated. This is also the educational setting. So each student who gets support, it says where is the district, where the school, is it going to be provided at the residency school? If not, why? So for example, if a student is in a special day class, it might be offered at another school because our site doesn't have special day, or behavioral intervention, so it just kind of depends. Also, the program setting and how many, for least restrictive environment, how many minutes, what is the percentage of the time are they outside the regular class, and what is the percentage of time they are in the regular class. So just kind of make sure that we're offering the least restrictive environment for all of our students, especially for me because it's RSP. And then also like other agencies involved outside of the district, what is a promotion criteria, parents will be informed how, and then that kind of stuff. So it's just interesting to see. And then, of course, in between each page, we ask if the parents have any questions, concerns, or comments, and then we talk about it, and everyone kind of puts in agreement if they support and stuff. So it's very constantly writing on the IEPs and changing them if we need to. This is also the signature page / parent consent. So this is usually printed out before the meeting. And everyone on the team who is there at that time will sign it. And then the parents obviously focus right here. So do they agree with all parts of the IEP, signature, date, and everything? Do they feel that they are involved in the meeting? And then also if they're eligible for public benefits, Medi-Cal, we have a paper that they get. And if they agree, they can authorize it and click the button. If they don't, they do not need to sign. And then at the end of the IEP meeting, we have parents check all this off to make sure that they feel that they don't have to click the button, that they actually do feel like they're involved, that we gave them a copy of safeguards, did they get assessment report, and that would be all in present levels. And this parents do get a copy of that. And then also if it's a triennial, they would get like that evaluation report. And then they've received the IEP, which everyone gets a draft, and then written notification of the LEA Medical. That would be this portion right here. And then we never want to click this box because if we do, we have to go back and have an amendment. But that's if the students are a private school, which our students aren't, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we have the notes. The team works together to share these notes. So we put this in a Google Drive, and then we send it out to the whole team members, and everyone kind of writes notes as we go through presenting each section. This kind of helps that all the information is there, so when we leave the meeting, it's good to go. We don't have to go back and try and remember what was happening. This outline also helps us because it kind of gives us like, this is what we're talking about, this is what we need to have, if there's any specific wording that needs to be put into place, such as like who are present, parents' rights were offered and accepted, and that kind of thing. And then we just copy and paste that and put it into the notes. And then we go ahead and affirm and attest, and then we send an official copy home with the parents once it is affirmed and attested. If a parent needs it in Spanish, we can translate it for them. It goes home in English immediately, and then Spanish goes home anywhere between 4 weeks later, sometimes sooner if we don't have that many backed up. So that is an example of how an IEP meeting would go. And then I go ahead and print this. Information and eligibility. No, I want IEP at a glance. IEP at a glance. So this is what I give to each teacher after the meeting. And then also I have it in my file, and my aide has it in her file. And it just kind of breaks it down. The big one is IEP goals and objectives because they're working on those in general ed and in special ed. And then also accommodations and modifications. So this helps make sure that every gen ed teacher is supporting the students at all times, especially because most of them are mainstreamed majority of the time. And then also, if teachers have any questions, they can ask the coaches, they can ask me, and we can support them. All right, there's a mock IEP for you. Of course, with digital learning, we've been doing more online, so a lot of the parents will get a piece of paper that looks like this as I'm presenting. Alrighty.